I joined the troop because I didn't feel much adventure, I suppose. Virginia is kind of bland in my opinion. There's not a lot to do here, and the national parks aren't near where I live. So I joined the Scouts so that I could do things like fishing and camping, hiking and swimming, rock climbing. I like to be out and about instead of in a house.
Probably being outdoors, because I am usually inside doing schoolwork or doing my dance classes, but when I'm outside, I get to run around, I get to do fun scouting activities.
Oh, child. All right, get away.
It was so fun. Like how we just hung out together and like around the warmth of the fire, like passing around the graham crackers and the chocolate and the marshmallows to make s'mores together. That was really fun.
We like to tell stories around the campfires, but we roast marshmallows more often than not.
Just saying, if you really love me, you would share.
It's really enjoyable because you get to spend time with your friends. They're close enough as friends that I would rather consider them family.
Probably the campfire. I like roasting s'mores, cooking hot dogs, and talking to people.
What I like most about camping is getting to hang out with the Scouts for a whole weekend, working on our merit badges.
We're finishing up our last requirement, which is to identify trail signs. So we have a little paper that has all these different markers, and we have to go around the outside of the field and identify which ones we found. We don't have pens on us, so we took some grass and just smudged it on the ones we found.
Probably the animation merit badge. We traced paper. We had one frame, and then we took another piece, and then we traced on top of it to make the next frame.
I got to do an animation merit badge, which was hugely fun. And not all Scouts are going to get into the merit badge you do, but Sydney, she's animating all the time now, and she's posting it and sharing with friends, but she loves animation, and the spark came from doing that merit badge. So if you get one Scout to get excited about something, it makes it worth the effort to volunteer and put your own time into it.
I personally love drawing and painting, so the art merit badge was really fun for me. We looked at some famous paintings. We drew the same thing in, I think, 4 different mediums.
One of my favorite skills was the firemanship. So now it's easier to start a fire and we can get things rolling.
Getting to hang out with my fellow Scouts and making and eating my camp food.
Yo, that looks good. Yo.
My favorite skill is definitely cooking.
The most challenging part is trying to cook the food. I mean, you get assistance, the other Scouts help you, but when you're on your own, it's just like, you might not know how to light the stove, you may not know how high the temperature has to be, and you may not know what ingredients everyone wants. So you just gotta be so cautious over everything you make.
Something challenging about camping, it's easy to get a little bit homesick. It's easy to feel kind of out of place sometimes when you're with friends and when you have people by your sides. It's easier to deal with, and it's always worth it because I get to spend some time alone with people that matter to me.
It's like that. I'm gonna drink some dead bugs.
We don't know how to set up a tent. We don't know how to set up a tent.
Alright.
Okay, then somebody should have the other
But
pole.
like, I don't know how to set it up.
It's okay, we'll help you. Yeah, this is what Scouts do. We help each other. Alright, so we're gonna scoot this over.
Figuring out types of tents, how they're set up different ways, is a little bit challenging.
Definitely setting up a tent before. We haven't been camping that often. So like knowing how to use and bend the poles, fitting it for the rain fly and the actual tent and the tarp.
There's spiders in there. I don't like spiders. Don't shake them into my tent. If they drop into my sleeping bag, I slaughter you.
We do get to teach merit badges when it comes to merit badge work, but the other main role is to help teach the leadership so that the leadership can guide and teach the Scout troop. And that's what gets me excited to volunteer for the Scouts anyhow, is watching somebody who's taken the leadership you demonstrate for them and told them about. I actually see them plan an event and execute an event all on their own without adults interfering.
When they hit a point where you're no longer teaching them, but then they're teaching other scouts as well. So it's when they become the teachers is, I think, one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
The trail signs, and the back is the semaphore. All right, that's the two things you have. So on the trail signs,
Personally, I really cling to the leadership development portion of it. Scouts, even if they don't know it after they've been in the program for a while, they're assuming a lot more responsibility than, quite honestly, a lot of adults do. Being responsible for 20 other scouts out here and what they're eating, how they're sleeping, whether or not they have enough clothes to keep them warm through the night, you know, their gear that they have on them, teaching them how to survive, how to start fires, how to cook things properly. The leadership responsibility that goes into that is enormous.
All right, listen up. Very important, right? Buddy system.
Yes.
All the time.
6 feet.
Buddy system at all times. If your buddy wakes you up at 2:30 in the morning going, I gotta pee,
Go with them.
get out and go pee. And while you're over there, pee yourself so that you don't have to go a half hour later and go, I gotta pee.
Don't pee yourself. Pee in the toilet,
Yeah.
please.
I enjoy being able to set an example for my other scouts. It's definitely tasking though at times. You have difficulties because you know you're supposed to make sure you get everything done on time, and you know that sometimes you'll have to task your friends to do things even if you don't want to and you'd rather be sitting there talking, but it's kind of like you have to task yourself and everybody else to get the stuff done. Okay, I'm gonna take Sydney and don't.
Why?
Are you okay?
The one that falls over.
Do you lean back in your chair? That's probably why. People learn from example, not from just being told to do something.
Or move the blade.
It's a lot easier to get people to do things when you're doing it alongside them, not just telling them to do something from the sidelines. Having people depending on you is challenging at sometimes, especially when you don't know what to do and everybody's looking to you for answers. That's probably the hardest part.
Servant leadership, where the leader isn't there to be served by everybody else. The leader is there to serve everybody else. And that doesn't mean doing everything for them. That means enabling them with the right tools and the right knowledge and looking after them, right? Like you would a family.
On my first camp out, on the camporee, it was the last night, and the weather had predicted that there was a thunderstorm coming. And all of the other troops left, all of them, every single one. But our troop, we decided to tough it out, and we stayed. Me and Lauren got sick, and it was really cold, and we all got wet. But overall, it was really fun because for like the rest of the month, all of the other scoutmasters, all the other troops, they knew that we were the ones who stayed out in the thunderstorm during the camp out. And I'd say that was one of my favorite moments.
We all have to get in our uniforms and we get to walk over a bridge and promise some stuff and pick our troop. Obviously, we picked Troop 840.
You guys crossed the bridge, and then, 4 members of the troop were right there to help you out, to welcome you to the troop, welcome you to the family, to put on the scarf. So this group right here, no matter what you're going through, if nobody else, this group right here, you should be able to turn to, right? No matter what is going on. Whether it's something small or something monumental, or something small that you think is monumental. Huge, right? So help each other out. And it deals with the little things, like a scarf. All right, straightening it out. Little things like helping each other with a meal, right? Little things like it's 2 o'clock in the morning and your buddy's got to pee. Were you in Scouts when you were younger?
Yes, I was one of those guys who made it to life and was 2 merit badges away from Eagle.
That sounds like my son.
Based on life experience, that if you can push through and get to Eagle, it's well worth the effort. Scouting is very highly respected in the business world.
As a scout myself, I got my Eagle Scout when I was a kid, and it was funny. I went from high school to Marine Corps boot camp, and I wasn't in Marine Corps boot camp, but maybe 3 days before I started realizing that stuff that I had learned and applied in scouting was enabling me to rise well above my peers and was helping me to help them out as well.
I have 2 brothers. My older brother's 5 years older. He made Eagle, and that was right about when my parents decided, yeah, great, he made Eagle. So they stopped taking me and my younger brother to Scouts. So I went as far as first class. I think I was just a merit badge short of a star. So it's one of those things you look back on. It would have been nice to finish, but again, you got to have volunteer support, but your parents have to be in support of the Scouts effort. So that plays in. It's important, and you find Scouts that thrive and succeed have had good support.
When they were very little, we were in the Girl Scouts for 2 years, and I was disappointed because we hadn't gone camping yet. I did Scouts as a kid as well, but we didn't camp much either, and we definitely didn't do tents. And I didn't want her to become a saleswoman. That wasn't her goal, and that was not my goal for her. Girl Scouts, there was a little bit too much emphasis on the cookies sales as the only leadership opportunity for kids. My parents would be like, go ahead, we'll see you at 5 o'clock tonight. And we would play in those woods over there, climb on stuff. Like, we were free to do all that stuff. And I learned that you can get cut on certain things, or that you shouldn't step on a nail, and but I didn't learn that through my parents. And today's parents, as much as I like to think I'm a good parent, is definitely protecting my child from so many things. I don't want them to go without. I don't want them to be cold. I don't want them to suffer. And you don't want their hearts to get broken by friends. You don't want them to say something silly that everybody thinks they're doofy, but they're getting that opportunity here to be able to speak and be themselves.
It was maybe at the last camp out, I was crying in my tent because I felt like I did not belong. Nobody liked me in the troop. And then Paige, the leader of our troop, she came in and told me I was appreciated and I was loved just as everyone else was. And then everyone else, every single person in the troop, came in and hugged me. And I felt so loved and appreciated that I cried. I was so happy. And that's when I realized that I actually do belong in this group. A scout would be someone who looks out for their family, genetically or not, and someone who respects and takes care of the world around them.
Getting to learn something new with people around you and having fun while doing it.
It means a lot to me because I really like the outdoors, and Scouts is mostly outside and outdoors.
Everybody on 3, splat elephant.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
It means that you always work together. You always try to do your best to help others.
Everything, because not that person that will dress up fancy or anything. I'm more of a person that will get out and do something, and Scouts is a right fit for me because I'm getting muddy, I get to do things.
I'd kind of say it's an escape for me. It's my comfort because 90% of the time I'm stressed doing other stuff at home. But when I come out and I see my friends, I'm with people who help keep me calm down.
We talk to each other about things that bother us sometimes. When we feel down, you always have a scout by your side. Being a scout is being just you, honestly.
I've learned so much that it's kind of like, I don't know what I would be like if I hadn't joined scouting. There is no boundary between me and my scouts. We're very open with each other. We can talk about whatever we have to. As a scout, I would say, you're part of the family now.